Hi, I'm Sam Peterson from Millcreek Township, and today's guests are Sister Mary Fromknecht and Shelby Folga of the St. Patrick's Haven for Homeless Men, which is run by the Sisters of St. Joseph. Following our first few questions, we'll have Sister Carol join us as well. And without further ado, let's get going. So Shelby, Sister Mary, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start with the first question, kind of like an overview. So what is St. Patrick's Haven and what is the mission?
St. Patrick's Haven was founded in 1984 for the purpose of meeting the needs of the men who are on the street. I worked at St. Patrick's Church at the time and was able to see these men coming and wanting a place to stay at night. And they began to use the church for refuge. And so we decided we would start the Haven. And it first opened on 4th and Peach. And at that time, we served 12 men at a time.
Gotcha. So over the years, how has the St. Patrick's Haven grown? Because obviously it's had such a long history. It's such an establishment.
Well, the original building was pretty dilapidated, and so we had to keep moving. And finally, we were able to move to our present shelter site. And now we have 22 beds and can serve that many men each night. There are room for additional men in case it would be terrible weather or something of that caliber.
Okay, and then do you have a system in place for how you set up people claiming those beds, or?
Yeah, so each night we invite guests who stayed with us the night prior to return and claim their bed at 6:30 p.m. All unclaimed beds at 7 p.m. are given to guests on a first-come, first-served basis. Guests complete intake paperwork, which includes questions about their demographics and questions about their prior living experience. We briefly search their belongings for weapons or prohibited items, after which they're assigned a bed for the night. We offer coffee, snacks, toiletries, clothing, hot showers, and television nightly, and provide meals on weekends and holidays. We also collaborate with local agencies for guests who would like to complete a housing assessment or reach additional services.
Gotcha. So kind of going off of that amazing growth that St. Patrick's Haven has had over the years, what are some of the challenges and some of the setbacks really that you've experienced?
Well, in my early times when I was there, we experienced men who didn't understand what it was to spend the night, and so they would try and leave in the middle of the night. And we have managers who run the Haven, 2 men who have at some point in their lives needed housing or were homeless. And so those men were certainly able to handle the situations as they grew. Early on, it was a much more difficult process because it was new and it was different, and they didn't know what to expect.
Now, I understand you guys had a fire, I believe, recently, correct?
Recently, that was under Shelby's plans and her work.
So we experienced a fire in September of 2022. This fire rendered the building uninhabitable. However, all our guests and the Haven's cat, Princess, were safely evacuated. While we were in the rebuilding process, we were able to provide temporary shelter at the Mental Health Association's lower room. In just 8 months, we were able to return back to 239 East 12th Street and continue providing shelter there.
Okay, so that's good to hear that you came back after a year. I mean, that's incredible. It only took a year to get back to it.
Yes, that was wonderful because from my perspective, the people of this area certainly were very supportive in helping St. Patrick's get to where it was. She mentioned the cat. That's very important. I know it seems silly.
Absolutely,
but the men really enjoy Princess. And one of the men has kind of taken him on the cat under his wings. And he has made Princess the princess of St. Patrick's Day.
Well, Do you think that over the years, since from when you guys first started to now, have you guys seen like a fluctuation in the population of people utilizing St. Patrick's Haven?
Yeah, so during the fire, we obviously experienced a decrease of individuals because we provided less beds. However, in the aftermath of the fire, we have seen an increase in individuals who sought out shelter at St. Patrick's Haven, and also in the number of beds we provide.
So what distinguishes St. Patrick's Haven from a traditional homeless shelter?
Well, I think we've provided a lot of personal and interpersonal ability or opportunities for our men. We don't try to convert anyone. We allow them to be who they are. We ask for nothing from them other than their presence and the behavior and their constancy. We have a memorial service. We've had guests, of course, who have been there for years and passed on. And so there are memorial services that are planned for them to meet, so there is something for them in their for their funeral. We have meal teams that come each weekend to provide meals, because during the week they're able to go to the Emmaus Soup Kitchen. And so Saturday and Sunday they provide meals and for their dinner. And we have to remember that the managers experienced homelessness themselves. And so consequently, since they did, they certainly understand what it is to be homeless. And I love the way they treat the men who come to the Haven.
That's great to hear.
They are treated with much respect, and really, we have very few problems. There have been some in the past, but if there's a problem, it is taken care of regularly, either by the managers or the men are asked to leave and come back when they're able to participate differently.
Sister Mary, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're most welcome. I appreciate the offer.
And we'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. And now we are joined by Sister Carol from St. Patrick's Haven. Sister Carol, thank you for joining us. I believe you had some more to add for the what distinguishes St. Patrick's Haven from a traditional homeless shelter.
Yes, in addition to the things that Sister Mary mentioned, one of our distinguishing features is that we not only have dedicated volunteers that bring meals, but we have dedicated volunteers that bring themselves. And they come and they're a nightly presence for the men. And our homeless guests are often ignored during their day. People walk right by them and pretend they don't see them, and they're invisible. But these visitors in the evening come and spend time with the guys. They listen to their stories. They show a lot of respect for the men and their experiences, whatever they may have been. And I think that's an important distinguishing feature. Additionally, you had talked about some of the challenges or obstacles that St. Pat's has overcome. And I just want to call out a couple of organizations that have been particularly helpful with those challenges. When the original home at 4th and Peach was no longer sufficient, we moved to the 100 block of East 12th Street. And soon that became not uninhabitable, but in need of lots of repairs. Yeah. And the Manufacturers and Business Association had that motorcycle excursion for 3 or 4 days called Roar on the Shore. Part of that Roar on the Shore was a faith charity ride, and the funds raised during that time were always given to a local charity. In 2017, they chose us, and that enabled us, it gave us the seed money to begin to build the new facility in the 200 block of East 12th Street. That's the one that was destroyed by fire. So a shout out to manufacturers and the Roar on the Shore, and later on when we had the fire, we couldn't house the guys anymore, and there were going to be 26 men on the street. Mental Health Association stepped up within days and offered us their basement and cots so that we could house at least 20 of those guys on a regular basis until we got back into our facility the following July.
And that generosity from the community, I mean, that's amazing. It was incredible that they helped you so much.
And it's in addition to the individual donations. I mean, we wouldn't exist without the support that we receive from the Erie community.
Absolutely. And so I kind of want to shift the focus a little from the overarching, what is St. Patrick's Haven, the businesses and community that's helped you guys out, and talk a bit more about the people that you serve. So who do you, traditionally, who do you usually serve?
St. Patrick's Haven provides shelter to any man in need. Individuals might experience homelessness due to addiction, mental health challenges, recent incarceration, or personal circumstances. Many of those seeking shelter are veterans. From July of 2023 to June of 2024, we sheltered an average of 5 veterans a night, providing 1,734 bed nights to our veterans. That's 25% of all beds that we provide. Bed nights are calculated by adding the number of beds we provide each night. So for example, if we provide 20 beds tonight and 20 beds tomorrow night, we've provided a total of 40 bed nights. Furthermore, during this time period from July of 23 to June of 2024, over 250 of our guests reported mental illness or chronic substance abuse. Over 200 reported physical disabilities or developmental disabilities, and 71 were considered chronically homeless.
Wow. So you would say that those are the bulk of the individuals that seek shelter from you guys. It's really just the people going through those issues.
Yeah, and however, the guests that we see are more than just labels and numbers. Mm-hmm. They're brothers and sons, fathers and grandfathers. They're human beings.
Of course. So Shelby, how widespread is homelessness in our community?
Yeah, so in a year's time, St. Patrick's Haven sheltered 287 men, provided 7,496 bed nights, and 172 cot nights. During this time, the average length of stay was 26 days, and on average, we saw 21 guests a night and had an occupancy rate of 91%. For our anniversary, we evaluated our impact over 40 years using data from the last 20 years. We estimated the number of guests we sheltered over this time based on that 20-year data. We then calculated bed nights based on the number of beds we offered at each historic location during that time span. Over 40 years, we estimated that St. Patrick's Haven has provided shelter for 4,000 homeless individuals and provided over 186,000 bed nights. Furthermore, the Erie County Continuum of Care conducts their housing and urban development point-in-time count of unhoused individuals on a single night in January. Mm-hmm. This provides us with a snapshot of what homelessness looks like in our community. During the 2023 count, they identified 1,059 homeless individuals. 40 of those were unsheltered.
So just to put some context to that, is that kind of what you were seeing before, or like back, in the earlier days of St. Patrick's Haven, or is that more trending upwards nowadays?
Yeah, so this figure actually represents a decrease of 47 persons from 2022. Mm-hmm. However, it is the third highest it has been since this data has been reported, starting in 2017.
So you think really COVID had something to do with that maybe? I mean, I'm just thinking along the time period that it might have affected, I'm assuming it affected how you guys operated, right?
Absolutely. We had to change policies to make sure that our guests were 6 feet apart, that they were masked appropriately. During COVID, the organizations that work in housing and urban development saw an increase in temporary funding. So that might explain why we see a decrease in those numbers. However, now that that funding has gone away, this paints a concerning picture for our future.
And I'm glad you mentioned the future. So where do you see St. Patrick's Haven going over the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, so our hopes for St. Patrick's Haven is that in another 40 years, we can close our doors because there will no longer be a need for homeless shelters. However, the need for emergency overnight shelter has been persistent. With this in mind, our best hopes for the future of St. Patrick's Haven, and that is that we continue to be responsive and flexible to the needs of our community and the guests that we serve. While other agencies investigate gaps in and barriers to services, we too will keep an eye on this valuable information so that we may better assist individuals experiencing poverty and homelessness.
So then that brings up then where do you guys typically see your funding, and then how can people help you if they really want to get involved with your extremely important mission?
Yeah, so St. Patrick's Haven is entirely funded through individual donations and a few small grants. The Haven has provided shelter for 40 years, only thanks to the generosity of those who believe in our mission. The community can support St. Patrick's Haven by visiting stpatrickshaven.org to sign up for volunteer opportunities, to host a fundraiser or donation drive on our behalf, to purchase items from our wish list, or make a monetary donation. We also provide people the opportunity to support the longevity of St. Patrick's Haven. By making a reoccurring donation, you're directly contributing to providing safe shelter, warm beds, hot showers, coffee, snacks, clothing, and toiletries nightly. Furthermore, your support will allow us to effectively plan and make decisions based on our available resources, ensuring uninterrupted shelter.
I know that there is that Erie Gives Day coming up. Would that be a good opportunity for people to give to you guys?
Yeah, so another way you can support St. Patrick's Haven is this upcoming Erie Gives Day on August 13th, 2024. By visiting eriegives.org, searching for St. Patrick's Haven, and clicking on our page to make a donation. This year, for Erie Gives Day, St. Patrick's Haven is hosting an Experience Homelessness Challenge based on the notion that there's no better way to understand the needs of Erie's homeless population than to spend the night sleeping on the streets. St. Patrick's Haven challenges the community to help us raise $40,000 during Erie Gives. If this goal is met, Terry Holmes, board president, Matt Carnival, board treasurer, and I will spend the night outside near St. Patrick's Haven, located on 239 East 12th Street, to closely replicate the homeless experience. While one night can never convey the realities of being homeless, this night could provide insight into the challenges they may face. Why $40,000? This year marks the 40th anniversary of St. Patrick's Haven. By supporting us through Erie Gives, a percentage of your gift is matched and your donation helps to provide shelter. We plan on sharing the outcome of the Experience Homelessness Challenge on our website and Facebook page.
And so people can stay updated just by finding you on your website and on social media as well?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much today, Shelby, Sister Carol. Thank you for everything you've taught us. And thank you, the viewers, for listening. We learned so much today about St. Patrick's Haven and the very real and very scary realities of homelessness in the county. Till next time, I'm Sam Peterson.